all going so well. It was all going so well. It really was. I was having a blinding evening. The shit that kicked off last time. Start from the top. Get to the conclave. It's this beautiful part of Yale campus, all under the dictation of Dallas Andromeda. So, Ventru class, Ventru style. Good place to meet. The evening kicks off really well. First of all, I meet Juice. Finally see Juice again, the Alliance representative. Carlo's right there. He's able to back me up. I'm able to get the deal I wanted for my cars. All sorted, all done. Got 5 Alliance coins. Pissed off Juice a little bit. I think it's impossible not to piss off Juice whenever you're getting anything out of him. Doesn't seem like the sort of person who likes those kind of sides of bargains. But yeah, so got that sorted. Cars moved on. Not out of pocket. That's good. Second thing, got things sorted with Judith Roman. Obviously, slightly pissed off that my personal involvement with the Razors was messing with her group. So we've made a business arrangement. I'm going to be providing blood to ghoul a few of her guys so that they can learn a bit of fortitude. And she's taken her guys off grid, so they're no longer able to be easily traced, and I'm going to consult with security on her teams. So no need for a big boon, no need for a big thing over that, just a nice simple business deal. Smooth over that whole situation. Ken and I finally had a conversation about the night that he spent, the first night he spent here, after being in awkward silence about it for the last month. Apparently I came on to him and made some inappropriate proposals for usage of his protean. But he seemed good about it. He told me that I'd left him with full access to my fucking computer, and he hadn't done anything, but I needed to be more careful with my security in the future. So at least he's an honest and a stand-up guy. First fucking kindred I ever met that's an honest and stand-up guy. No one nobody fucking likes him around here except me. So that was all going well. Even talked to the Prince. I got a plan to deal with the embezzlers at Western Investments. I'm going to ghoul them. I'm going to make them show me where they've embezzled the money. And then once I got the money back, I'm shipping them off to London for Prince John to deal with personally. That seems like the Ventru thing to do, to respect Prince John's dignitas, to get the money back, to prove that I can manage a company, to prove that I am a worthy Ventru. So I thought all of that was going well. And then the Prince, oh yeah, and I met Mr. Smith again, that Brouillard, and I was able to persuade the Prince that he should be allowed to embrace a new child, to replace the ones that got killed by the hunters. And I was able to persuade the Prince, and I got a boon out of him. Fucking A. I thought, yeah, I'm getting the hang of this. I am getting the hang of this. And then the Prince received a message from Sir Mason Guildford. And he said that we all had to, the family, the Ventru, so that's me, Dallas, the Prince, had to meet him down in the basement underneath Yale. And apparently something was going to happen, something important was going to happen. And we get down there, and the whole place is in shadows, and there's nothing but candles all over the place. And there's this ritualistic cauldron in the centre of the room, and there's this mysterious looking figure that looks shaped pretty much like Mason Guildford in this dark, ritualistically sparkly lined robe. And it's a robe I recognise. It's the robe worn by the cult of Mithras. Crazy motherfuckers in London who think Mithras is some kind of god and worship him as such. They were after me back in London. I don't know, they wanted me to be, I don't know what they wanted. They said they wanted me for some sort of rite or ritual, and now I think I know what it was. because Mason Guildford said that he'd found a way to purify my blood. And I thought, fantastic, fantastic, I can get rid of this fucking bruiser, taint, I can finally be what I'm meant to be, I can finally be the child of Mithras and nothing else. But it turns out that wasn't the plan. The only way to purify my blood was to annihilate me, utterly. He was going to drain he wanted to drain all of my blood into that cauldron, suck out my fucking soul, and destroy it. And the reason for this, turns out it's something to do with what they call Mithrian magic. Yeah, turns out the Ventrue of my bloodline, the Mithrians, used to be like the fucking Tremere. They used to have thaumaturgy. They used to be able to launch bolts of lightning from their fingers, conjure fire, all that crap that the Tremere now have the kind of exclusive rights to. And apparently, if I was gone, if I was destroyed, I had corrupted the bloodline, then the last awakening of Mithras would have seen the return of Mithrian magic. But according to Mason Guildford, the embrace of his bastard child, he kept calling me that fucking word bastard, over and over and over, just digging into my pit of my stomach that he knew what I was, this fucking mongrel that I was. Fucker. And I realised that I had to get the fuck out of there. But before I could act, before I could even fully get my head together to know what I did, the prince turned on me. And he did something to me. I felt him reach inside me with his presence. I think it was presence. I really don't still fucking recognise those things properly. And suddenly, I'm completely enslaved to him. Suddenly, all I want to do is serve him and please him and and even sacrifice my own life for him. And I go numb because I'm full of this contradiction. The survival part of me, the beast, just wants to run. It just wants to fight. It just wants to get the fuck out of there. But it's completely overpowered by this bond to the prince. And the prince curtails me like that. And I just stand there staring at the cauldron, muttering, because I don't know what to do. I'm fighting inside myself against this control, but I can't beat it. And Mason Guildford and the prince start arguing whether he's checked his facts right, or whether this is true. And I think the prince is going to do it. I think he's going to sacrifice me. And Dallas is talking on my behalf. He's trying to defend me. And Guildford is calling Dallas just as much of a mongrel and reject as I am, because he was embraced by the Sabbat, and Dallas is bitching back at him, telling him my pedigree's established, even if my sire is not. And it just fits off between them. Everyone arguing back and forth. And the prince gets so fucking angry with Guildford for his fervour, because all you can see, it's obvious, he hasn't checked this. He doesn't know that this will bring back Mithrian magic. He just fucking hates me. He fucking wants me dead. He sees me as an aberration, as a disgusting stain on the Ventrue blood, and he wants me destroyed. And eventually, the prince gets so angry with him. The prince revokes his hospitality, orders him to stand down, orders him to get out of his domain. And Guildford counters with his authority in the clan and tries to dismiss the prince's position, and dismisses the prince and tells him that he overrides his authority with the authority of the strategos. And there's a face-off. And the two of them, and he just says that he will humiliate the prince, he will destroy the prince. And Guildford looks at me, and I feel him in my head. I feel him in my mind. And he does something. He shuts down some portion of my blood, and suddenly I feel more vulnerable. Suddenly I can't shield myself. I can't armour myself like I would do before. He's stripping away my fortitude. And he does it again. And I feel it sucked out of me like it's locked up inside me just by his gaze. And then the prince turns on him. And I can feel this crackle of energy in the air. And I can feel that the prince and Guildford are dominate presence. They are trying to exert their wills over one another, and they are so evenly matched that neither of them's gaining an advantage. And in my addled state, in this state where all I can think of is I need to save the prince. I need to save the prince's reputation, and the best thing I can think to do is to sacrifice myself. That's how messed up my head was. So I bite my wrist and I'm bleeding into this cauldron. I'm forcing my blood into this cauldron. I am killing myself for the prince. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And the prince, and then this face-off going between them, and I notice out of the corner of my eye, Dallas, in his subtle little way, has set fire to Mason Guildford's robe. He's trying to burn him alive. So I'm like, wow, so Dallas is definitely on my side. Even though he can't do much, he's doing what he can. And I realise then that if I sacrifice myself, they're going to kill him too. The prince possibly could be dead as well. This guy's crazy. This guy is crazy, and he will stop at nothing to ensure I am destroyed. And then the prince turns around and tells me to stop. And I close up the wound on my hand immediately because I have to do whatever he says. And then I feel him withdraw. I feel his influence over me withdraw, and my head comes back into focus, and I get back into the game, and I'm not lost anymore. And I see Mason Guildford's drawn out this ceremonial dagger in one hand, and he looks like he's going for the prince. So I get in close. I disarm him, and he looks shocked as hell that I'm able to. Fuck you, Guildford, huh? All that training together? Don't know how to brawl. So I take your weapon away? Who's got the advantage, huh? And then Guildford pulls up his knee, rams it into my stomach. But I move out of his way. I can feel how strong he is. Fucking stronger. About as strong as I am. Fucking elder. He's powerful. And I think we are so fucked here. And the prince is trying everything he can to get Guildford under command, and I hear him issuing dominate commands and Guildford resisting them and firing them back. I can feel the prince's presence pushing at him, and I can see that Guildford is attacking the prince as well, and the prince is getting weaker and weaker as Guildford is stripping away his powers with that gaze of his. And Guildford hits me with that gaze again, and I feel another layer of my fortitude strip away. And I think we're fucked here. We're fucked here. And I think I got to even the odds. And I reach into my back pocket and I pull out the thermobaric car bomb I designed months ago that I've been keeping on ice just in case we have a need for it. And I pick up this thermobaric device and I ram it into Guildford's chest and I set it off. Probably not the best plan. Not the best idea in a confined space to let off a thermobaric weapon. But I decide it's the only way to go. It's the only way that this thing's going to get settled. We've got to get some sort of advantage. And boom! Takes out the room. I shake myself too, and the prince and Dallas and Guildford are all slammed against the wall. And the prince has his oar up and he's drawing Guildford's attention, and so Guildford can't focus his power on me anymore. And I realise the prince is giving me the advantage here, and Guildford is scarred and burned all over. In fact, we all fucking are. But Guildford definitely looks worse off than the rest of us. And Guildford, in his fury, goes for the prince. He literally goes to attack the prince. And I'm on him. I'm on him in seconds. I pull him off the prince. I drive my teeth into his neck. And I rip out a big chunk of his flesh. And he's still focused on the prince. He can't draw his eyes off the prince. The prince has him. And I bite him a second time. I bite him a second time. And I fucking underestimate my strength. I underestimate my strength entirely. I've underestimated how much damage the thermobaric bomb must have done to him. I just wanted to drop him into torpor, but I fucking tear his head off with my teeth. And in a second, he's dust. In a second, he's just dust on the ground. And there is nothing left. The room is scarred and burned and empty, and there's a pile of dust blowing in the wind. I'm like, what the fuck have I done? I've killed a Ventrue elder. I've killed a Ventrue elder who's a personal servant of the Strategos of the UK. And the prince tells me that we're not going to talk about this, that we haven't seen Mason Guildford in months, that we are going to fill this room in with concrete. And he drags me out of there. And we go upstairs to the rest of the gathering, and I'm fucking like this. This shirt looks so fucking obvious. We're all burned and scarred, and the prince refuses to tell anyone anything, and we make up lies, but we haven't coordinated our lies, and everyone knows we're fucking lying. This guy was prepared for every eventuality. He was meticulous. There's no way he doesn't have a contingency for his death. The prince can't cover this up. The prince can't cover this up for me. And if it gets found out, me, the prince, and Dallas, we're all fucked because we were all complicit in it. I don't know what to do. Ventrue doesn't kill Ventrue. We use politics, we use dignitas, we use all of those things, but we are unified. He wanted to kill me, but that's because he didn't see me as Ventrue. But he was a purebred. He was a he was a descendant of Mithras. He's the child of Anne Bowsley. And I killed him. They're going to find me. And I can't lie to a Ventrue. If they don't charm it out of me with presence, they'll force it out of me with dominate. You can't lie to the clan of kings. I gotta save the prince and Dallas from dealing with my fucking mistake. I gotta make this public. The prince has to punish me. The prince has to make some public gesture of punishing me. He has to openly show that he didn't give me permission to destroy Dallas. Even though his hospitality was revoked, he's got to show that traditions have been followed, and he's got to throw me under the bus. Maybe being the child of Mithras will protect me. Maybe people will still be too scared of what Mithras will do to come against me. But the prince and Dallas will be the first to get knocked off. Neonate Sabbat embraced, involved in the death of an elder. They won't show him any mercy. So there you go. Every time I think things are getting better, I manage to fuck it up even worse. One thing I will say though, for all your training and your posture and your emphasis on swordplay and fencing, it's a fucking thug that took you out, Guildford. Maybe you should have learned something from me. But now you're dust. And I gotta fucking clean up the mess. I suck at this. suck at being a kindred, and I suck at being a Ventrue. Why the fuck did Mithras embrace me anyway? Mithras? Oh my god. They all told me in London that Mithras can feel his bloodline. That's how he found me when I was being tortured. He can feel and know what is happening to his descendants. I just killed another child of Mithras. Does he know? Did he feel it? The prince's fucking line of Mithras too, did they? There's 3 Mithrians in one room, and I killed one of his eldest children. Is he gonna come? Is he gonna know? Can't analyse it like this, Mike. Fuck it,